obviously GK icon. It's about you giving advice to young goalkeepers. At Brentford, the other goalkeepers ask you about advice.
Yeah. We've got a really good group at Brentford now. I mean, obviously the lad that left us at the start of the season, Simon Moore, I'm still in touch with now. We speak all the time, and he's great. For me, he's like the example of what goalkeeping will be. He to me epitomises the modern goalkeeper. He kicks fantastic ball. Is always looking to play out. Great lad. Just the all-round game. Makes saves, catches crosses, etc., etc. The lads at the moment at Brentford, all really talented. You've got Liam O'Brien, Jack Bonham and David Button, all young lads. And I've spoke to them all individually, and it's something I would never force certainly with the psychological side, I'd never force it upon anyone, but certainly if anyone asks me, I'm always happy to help, because I know how much it's really helped me in my career. When I was younger, putting so much pressure on myself, and as you can do with football, wanting to win all the time and really caring about what I was doing, it was hard. It was really hard to take defeats and bits and pieces, but as my career's gone on and I've learned to deal with them, it's helped my performance, and it helped everything else too.
Obviously you've got family around you, but do you remember the first bit of advice you got in your career when you were maybe struggling a bit mentally from someone else within the game?
There's, probably one of my biggest, as well as family, friends, etc. There was a guy at Watford called Keith Mincher who was a psychologist in effect, and that was really interesting for me to talk to him and to learn about what he had to say, because a lot of it just made me realise that I could choose how I wanted to be, so I didn't have to feel really nervous for games. I didn't have to feel anxious and all the horrible feelings you can get if you allow them to get to you. So then getting a little bit of control over what I was thinking in my mind has then allowed me just to enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, one of the things I really preach is that there's certain things you can control, there's certain things you can't control. So the things that you can control are what you eat before a game, how you sleep, the training you do, and whatever. You can control all this, but you can't control what the weather's going to be like, or what the referee's going to do, or what someone's going to say about you, or whatever. So by understanding that, you can focus your efforts on things that are going to make you a better goalkeeper and play a better game, as opposed to worrying about something that's out of your control. And then when you simplify it like that and you just focus on what you can do, it does make it a lot easier. You know that you can go out there having prepared as well as you can, give everything you've got, and at the end of the day, what will be will be.
Go back to GK Icon. Is there anyone that's been with you the whole way that you want to give special mention to, really?
I suppose initially the lads that put their names to it and helped with the programmes, the likes of obviously Ben Foster, Scott Loach, Andy Lonergan, Simon Moore and several others, they were fantastic. I mean, all the young goalkeepers that have come through our different schools back then and now as it's growing, it's great when I go down to the sessions and see 25, 30 kids there, all improving, and if I haven't been for several months, the improvement you see is phenomenal. Andy Bayford in the office basically makes it all tick and makes it all run. He'll be the one, if you do get in touch with GK Icon, that you'll speak to. And no, it's been a really enjoyable experience. I've certainly learnt a lot on a business sense. I'm going to make it work, and it is working now, purely because goalkeeping is my passion, and I know that it will have a massively beneficial impact on goalkeeping in this country.
When did you first decide, this is what I want to do, I want to be a goalkeeper, I want balls smashed at me? For 20 years. Seems like
an odd thing to do, especially with all the injuries I've had. When I look back now, it was... I'll never forget when I did decide, and my dad was actually really disappointed.
Was he?
Yeah. But this goes back to what we were saying, it isn't a fashionable position, it still isn't, and it should be, it really should be, I would say that. And it was more by chance that it happened for me. It was Sunday League team needed a goalkeeper, I gave it a go and I got the position. I say I got the position, actually that's technically wrong, I didn't, someone else got it. 2 games later he didn't want to play in goal. So I look back now, that was as an 8-year-old at Bedgrove Dynamos in Aylesbury. And then it just progressed from there. I realised I had a talent of sorts, and the big thing being, again, enjoyment. And I remember, although I didn't have goalkeeper training, without knowing it, I was practising a lot of what I would need now. So I'd get home every day after school, and I'd always have a ball in my hands, and much to my mum's dismay, I was throwing a ball around the house against the wall and making saves and doing bits and pieces. And I think that really then prepared me and trained me so that then obviously things progressed. I went through the age groups and got my contract.
Who was your sort of idol when you were growing up? Was there one goalkeeper that you thought, yeah, I want to be a bit like him?
There was, like everyone, Peter Schmeichel, until I got to about 15, 16 and realised I was never going to be as tall as him. So I had to change my game a little bit. But no, for me, he epitomised a lot of what a goalkeeper should be. I've moved sort of my direction slightly in that I think it's all good and well. If you're 6'4", 6'5", he's a great role model because he was agile, he was commanding, he came for crosses, he kicked it reasonably well, and just he had the all-round game for a goalkeeper. On a personal level now, I look at the keepers like Casillas, the ones who maybe aren't quite as big in stature, but so much quicker, and I mean he's technically fantastic, got such spring, so he makes up for that lack of 4 or 5 inches in height in many other ways. So he's someone I look at now. I think in the Premier League now you've got several fantastic goalkeepers, and the game's changed. You know, I look at even Peter Schmeichel now. I do wonder how he would fare in the Premier League, given that everyone's now got the side volley going on, and it's so accurate with their distribution. And now, to be honest, if you can't distribute the ball really accurately and in a variety of different ways, then you're not going to make it to the top. You need to be as good as an outfield player in many parts of your game, as well as having all the technique of a goalkeeper.
You said obviously you're not 6'5", but has your height ever held you back in your career, do you reckon?
It has and it hasn't. It has on several occasions when things may have happened and didn't for that reason, which was actually in hindsight was probably one of the reasons, or one of the main reasons I've set up GK Icon, because it does bug me in that you'll see certain goalkeepers that will be given a chance based purely on appearance, you know, and you might have a really talented lad who's only ever going to make it to 5'9", 5'10", and they'll get disregarded at 12, 13, 14, and that bugs me a bit, because I think there are ways now. I don't think height's that important. Height was always important because people would all say, oh, they come for their crosses, but how many crosses do Premier League goalkeepers come for now? And it's not anything to do with height, it's about the speed of your feet and the timing and the spring and everything else. And so I genuinely believe someone who's 5'10" could make it in the Premier League. Iker Casillas is only 6 foot and he's arguably the best in the world. What now happens though is anyone under 6 foot won't even get a look in. And I wonder, had I have come through 5-6 years later, whether I'd have got a look in. But that's the way the modern game. I do think it will change. Again, I hope with GK Icon we can raise awareness and knowledge of goalkeeping, and hopefully make people realise that positioning and communication and all these other attributes that a goalkeeper has is so much more important than a couple of inches of height.